Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm having trouble. It's asking me to register um from my computer and it's not accepting my registration. Um, so Mark, can you fix that and send me a new link? In the meantime, uh good afternoon, good day, everybody. I want to make time for questions and if there's anything that I can help you with, and especially if anybody has any progress that you've made. But today, especially because of the deadline for the Truist Bank grant, I want to go over that and see how many of you I can help finish, or if, at least not if not finish, at least get a good jump start on how to fill out that grant application. One of the best things about Truist is that if you don't get awarded this first one, um, they want you to apply for the next one, and they have other pockets of money. So I want to spend time with y'all on that. If I can just get into my own class. All right. So Mark, send me another link because this last one is asking me to register, and I don't think I have to register. All right. Anybody have any progress that they've made that you want to share? Any wins? All right. Any
I'll,
questions go
I'll,
ahead.
hi, Mr. Hackett. It's Dr. Sherman, and I'll share when I finished watching the bonus section on nonprofit website grants. You know, getting your website prepared for that. And with our mastermind we had last week, I sent over all the information to a VA who is currently finalizing putting the information I was missing on the website. So I'm excited about that. That's a win
Wonderful.
for me to get the website grant ready. So I finished all of that up. And I also finished the content with making the program description and design read a lot better for the Mental Health Wellness Center for Women.
All right.
So taking it step by step. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Matter of fact, um, having that website ready is going to be really critical over the next. It's still doing it over the next few weeks, based on the grants calendar. The next big funding cycle is Giving Tuesday, and on Giving Tuesday, that's where people are and organizations, for-profit businesses, and individuals are going to be giving to lots of nonprofits. You have to stand apart from all of the others. And in order to stand apart, your website has to be on point. And it's not that it has to be very beautiful. That's not what they're looking for, but they are looking for key pieces of information. And that's what I go over in the Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Now we're cooking with hot grease. Okay. So you want to get your website grant ready and make sure you do not skip the step of the do not skip the step of having your registration with GuideStar. You want to get your GuideStar profile so that you have your star of transparency, whether that is your silver star, bronze star, gold star, platinum star. There are some organizations that will not give to you if you have less than a silver star transparency. But when
Okay.
it's a GuideStar, just fill it in. Even if you have zeros from last year, even if this is your first year and you have zeros, still fill it in because they're not grading you on how much money you have brought in, but they are evaluating you based on how many questions you answer.
Okay, I did receive a silver transparency from GuideStar
Excellent.
last year. So this year I tried to see if I could go ahead and get the gold star. But what they're asking for is like an audit. Like one of the questions is like for a financial audit, and I haven't been audited. But I did watch one of your previous Zooms a while back,
Right.
with nonprofits. And you were saying that, it's good for somebody to have somebody to come in to do an audit of the finances. Is that the report that they're looking for, that a company has come in and done it?
When they ask for the audit, they sometimes they just say audit, but they don't only mean audit.
Okay.
There are 3 levels of audit. I probably need to record this. There's a review and a compilation and an audit. All of those things cost money. The review is the least expensive one. The compilation is the next highest expensive one, and then the next one is the audit. All of them are done by outside agencies, but there are some organizations that have just started out, and
Right.
because they just started, they don't have anything to audit.
Yeah, because
So,
I'm only a little over a year. So
so what
I'm
you do
just
in
like,
that end,
how do I get the gold? How do I get the gold one if I don't have any? I mean,
perfect, perfect.
I have a monthly budget, but
Let me tell you what to do. You take your nonprofit determination letter that has the date that you were approved as a nonprofit.
okay.
Take that letter and you write a letter. You write a statement on letterhead, your organization's letterhead, that says we were just recently incorporated as a federally recognized nonprofit and do not yet have an audit. Put those 2 things together and attach them in the slot where audit would go. Make sense?
Can
Yes.
you say what needs to be on that letterhead again?
On your company letterhead, you make a statement that says, we have just recently been incorporated and recognized as a 501c3 nonprofit agency. And you can put the dates in there. And we do not yet have a financial audit. You can say, because we have zero revenue, because we're just now starting. We plan to have one in the future, but those 2 things together will suffice. And then you will not have an empty blank space. One of our organizations, what we did, because we got a county grant, and the county had a waiver. They had a waiver where you fill out the form and you make this statement. So what I ended up doing, because they had that waiver document and it was county government, I took that document and I submitted to every other agency that asked for it. And I say, the county has recognized all of this already. And so this is where we are as an organization. But GuideStar does not really care about your answers. They just care that you give them full transparency, no blank spaces. All right. Any other questions, hiccups, situations you all have run into?
I do have a question. Did you ever receive, because I did email it to you, the EIN and stuff?
No, I didn't. Where did you email it to?
I think it's support or something, the email that
Okay.
I think marketing had.
Okay. All right. Attorney Jenny, are you here? Which one of my writers is here today? Mark, which one of the writers is here today?
All of them, sir, except Ivan. So we have Latrell, Jenny, we have Eliza.
Okay. All right. This email from Elena Smith is what we need in order to start her 1023 form. I need somebody to retrieve that and get it started today. So go ahead and make sure we locate it and message her in the comment that we got it. And Elena, it came from you, right? It will say Elena Smith.
All in one,
Okay.
but it still should have my name attached.
All right, y'all. Well, let's get started. The Truist grant. Well, inside of the grant cycle, and I noticed this question in the and one of the groups, um, the grants calendar, I know it sounds really simple, and y'all have to kind of excuse my eyes. I went to the eye doctor, and so they're dilated. Most things are blurry for right now, but the team, they put this on a black background so I could see it without squinting. All right. So the grants calendar, I know it sounds real simple because it just, but I have to make it sound simple. I've been doing it for a long time, and it's condensed down into something that's easy to digest. But the grants calendar really, really is the key to making sure that you have consistent funding coming in. You're going to be applying for grants all year round, and there are going to be opportunities coming left, right, from the left and the right. But in order to really maximize all of these funding sources and funding opportunities, you want to think about it in a calendar so that you're thinking ahead of time. So Truist is a bank, and that bank also has a foundation. The foundation was created as part of their way of giving back to the community. So Truist is the result of BB&T and SunTrust coming together. They came together and formed a new bank called Truist. Truist, they have specific interest in reaching marginalized communities, supporting leaders of color and communities of color, especially businesses of color. But the bank and the foundation are two separate entities. They are two separate entities. They have two different pockets of money. The grants calendar comes into play because during the month of October, banks are closing out their fiscal year, and the budgets that they have, they're spending them, and they can only spend them based upon invoices and activities. They can only spend them based on invoice activities. So if you have an outreach activity that they can support, they want to support it. But if you want them to support it financially, you've got to get it into them by October 31st. You got to get it into them by October 31st. It's got to be something that they can, that aligns with their giving priorities. And those are considered sponsorships. Those are not competitive. Those are controlled by people. Sometimes the manager is able. Sometimes they have a community reinvestment associate or community reinvestment person or outreach person that's managing it. But based on the law, that the CRA law, Community Reinvestment Act, every bank is required by law to give money back to the community. October is a time where they're giving away their final pieces of money, their final budgets. But they can only do that if they know you. So you got to have your website on point. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it does need to include the stuff. And if you're doing events, you want them to sponsor your event. Okay. That is sponsorships. But this Truist grant is part of their foundation. This is not sponsorship. This is their foundation. And because it's a grant, it's program specific and it follows a different cycle. So October is the final stretch for sponsorship dollars in the year. People are not going to authorize brand new spending. Banks are not going to authorize new spending for November and December. They want you to have had done all of it beforehand, and October is the deadline. Okay. Now they're not going to announce it. It's just what I know from working with them over time. All right. But this Truist grant is due in November, and it will be funded next year. Some people, they ask how long it takes for grants to be funded. Typically 3 to 4 months, you'll have a decision on a grant. Sometimes they'll turn around in as quickly as 1 month. But 3 to 4 months is normal. That's why you want to always be applying. All right. This grant is due in November. They'll make their decision. They'll notify you in the spring of next year. So let's get started. Their giving priorities are supporting small businesses and economic mobility. Supporting small businesses is when your entity is supporting other businesses. It is not designed to support you as a business. It is designed when you are the nonprofit, and your job, your work is to support other small businesses. All right. So they give money for that. The other reason they give money, other strategic priority, is called economic mobility. Economic mobility is how people move up in the economy. And you have to think about all of the things that it takes in order to move up economically. What does it take to move up? Well, you need certifications. You need recognition. You need training. You need education. Well, some people, no matter how much training and education they get, there are barriers. So you need barrier removal. Sometimes people need assistance. Sometimes people need you to decode applications. Sometimes people need case management. Sometimes people need resource navigating. What do people need in order to move up economically? And that begins to go into how you design your program. So let's say Maisha, for example, her program supports families of special needs children. Truist actually, they awarded a $250,000 grant on their Aspire Award. They awarded it to an agency that did small business development for people that were special needs. So they helped people that had special needs to create their own businesses. And this company got $250,000 and then the $75,000 on top of that. All right. That's their Inspire Award. And they did that because they're interested in small business development and economic mobility. So if I were to think of that same group of people inside of the realm of economic mobility, then what I'll be thinking about is, what does it take for this group of people to get jobs? And if they have jobs, to get higher paying jobs. If they have higher paying jobs, to be promoted, to have longevity. And they're looking for words and terms like sustainable employment, living wage, thriving wage. They're interested in increasing the economic mobility of people, and they're interested in strengthening small businesses. So when you look at your program design, you want to make sure you turn, for this application, you turn your program towards economic mobility or small business development. Let me have some volunteers. Let me have 2 volunteers, and I'm going to show you how to take your program, what you have right now. We're going to turn it towards economic mobility or small business, supporting small businesses.
I would love to be a volunteer.
All right, who's that? Ms. Smith?
Elena.
All right, Elena. So let's start with you. Talk about your group. Well, you go ahead and talk about your group of people and how you will turn it towards either one, economic mobility or small business development. But you have to let them know what your group is, what population you serve.
Okay. So what I do, well, my new nonprofit is going to be grandparent assist. So one of the small business development could be supporting grandparents to create their own business. I was creating their own business at home, work from homes.
I love it.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. So you would, yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things you want to do in the grant writing world, and people do this in the for-profit world, but they don't do it in the nonprofit world very well. So all of you that come from the for-profit world, you have an advantage over everybody else. Make up a word that's real sexy and attractive. So like a grandparent who's an entrepreneur might be called a grandparentpreneur or a grandpreneur. You get what I'm saying? Is make something that you can own. All right. So you would write this grant for how I'm going to teach grandparents who are raising grandchildren. I'm going to teach grandparents, whether they're raising grandchildren or not. I'm going to teach grandparents how to start and run their own businesses from home. And then some of the data that you want to pull is poverty among senior citizens, how retirements are not going as far as they plan to go. You know, retirement money is not as good as people thought it would be. Older people that are living in poverty, how people are struggling on fixed incomes. Does that make sense? And this becomes your statement of need. So helping grandparents start businesses they can run from home. And that fits perfectly inside of what you're doing. Whether they're raising grandchildren or not, that definitely fits with Grandparent Assist. And it fits with Truist Bank. All right. And because if you also know that the majority of people you're going to serve are people of color or minorities, Black people, brown people, indigenous people, people of color, name that, because there are statistics based on that. The more specialized you can be, the more attractive your application is.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, I want somebody else to volunteer to try it out.
It's Dr. Sherman. I'll try it out. So my program offers women mental health wellness counseling with no associated fees. It's donation based only.
Okay. All right.
And I see a large amount of Black women. More than anything, it's 98% of the women who walk through the door.
All right. So then, do these people have diagnoses or not?
Most of them do not come with a diagnosis. So we're a wellness center. We're preventive. If they have a deep diagnosis, we refer them to another colleague. But the wellness
That's not the work that you
is
do.
preventive. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then yours would be really easy. Women facing mental health challenges or overcoming mental health barriers. It can be as specific as that, or you can say we help women in low income neighborhoods start and grow their businesses, or women who are facing mental health challenges. We help them with economic mobility. And so if the work that you're doing, if it is successful, then they will have longer term employment. They will have more sustainable employment. They'll be able to enjoy life better. They'll be able to stay on jobs longer. If they don't have the service that you provide, answer me this. If they don't have the service you provide, is it likely that they will quit or be fired prematurely?
Yes.
Is it likely that people have called them unemployable when really there's some personal things that they just need to work through?
Yes, sir.
So these are the things that you would put in the application. You would say Black women in such and such zip code or such and such area are disproportionately fired, laid off, or suspended with no regard to what's really going on underneath. We specialize in providing mental health support to women in whatever neighborhood so that they can enjoy longer term sustainable employment and achieve and earn a living wage or living wage jobs.
Okay.
So you're taking your service and you're making it be utilized as a tool for this group of people so that all of it fits within Truist giving priorities. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Let's take another volunteer before we go into the questions.
Coach, it's Janae.
All right, Janae.
So we have a food outreach pantry that
Mm-hmm.
we are providing healthy foods to our community. And the community is in a impoverished area, and they don't like the nearest grocery store is probably like 30 minutes away.
Okay. All right. All right. Sounds good. So, tell me this, because I know Truist and I know some of your work. Y'all, Janae is the founder and owner of Administry, Administry of Excellence, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes,
And
sir.
part of her work is that she helps churches and organizations really get their administration in order. She can do as much or as little as they need, but she also helps them get grant funding. Um, and so I'm really, really glad. And she took our challenge and got a grant that same week. So that
And
was
I'm
pretty.
back on it. Yes, sir.
Back on it. Stay on it.
Yes, sir.
But tell me this so I can answer you more fully. Is this for a faith-based nonprofit or non-religious?
It's faith-based. So it's the pantry is actually ran out of the church, but we do not have any religious ties to the pantry.
All right, perfect, perfect. So with Truist, one of their things is they do not support churches, but they do support outreach activities. And you're going to have to make the statement somewhere, maybe in the other comment section, where you're gonna say that we don't discriminate against anybody. Our outreach has nothing to do with our religious affiliation, blah blah blah. And inside that part of the grant, you want to compare yourself to Salvation Army, and that way they'll really understand. Say similar to Salvation Army, our outreach program. We do not discriminate in our outreach program.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. But when you look at the food pantry, for example, if you wanted to use this for that, it might be because remember they're giving priorities off for economic mobility and small business, supporting small businesses. So you have to make your thing fit what they give for. They would not give just for food, but can you, based on what you know about what y'all do, can you think of some way that you can either fit it into one of these categories, either one of these categories?
And that's what because I read that part on their website, and I was like, how can I make it where maybe if the community was healthier, they would be able to stay on the job or go get a job because they wouldn't be out sick a lot. They would be able to they would be able to go get a job.
Is there a job training program that's already in the area and y'all could feed them?
A job training program. There, I would have to look.
Okay. I'll tell you what we did in Asheville. We had a community kitchen, but in that community kitchen, we actually turned the kitchen into a training program. So people come and they would learn the basics of cooking, and they would take the Serve Safe test so that they could go out and work. And that was job training. That was economic mobility. The other thing that you could do, you could do this for food business. All right. So small business development is when you have a program that helps support people that want to go into food business, whether it's catering, restaurant, food truck, something like that. Or maybe even to open a grocery store. Or maybe you want this pantry to become a community grocery store, a different model of community grocery store. And the grocery store is a business.
Business, which could employ, given the economic data.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But for Truist, it has to be economic mobility, which is jobs and better jobs. or it has to be small business development. So business has to be somewhere in there. And all business is not supposed to make one person filthy rich. Like, it's okay to have a co-op business, a social enterprise business, a business that is community owned. You can say, well, this grant request is so that we can make our food pantry a community owned grocery store. That employs the youth after school, provides fresh fruits and vegetables to people in the food desert, and also teaches small business to people that are in food related industry.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So the Truist application is going to ask you these questions. Going to ask you for your organization's mission. When it asks you a mission, you start with the mission, but they also have space for you to give the background. All right. So you give your mission and then you give your background. If you remember the way that we taught before, your background, you want to claim all of the years that you were doing the work. Even if you were not incorporated, claim those years. You don't ever have to lie. Don't say that you were incorporated at a time at which you weren't. But the time that you were not incorporated is considered grassroots work. We started our grassroots work in 2015 when blah, 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 blah. In 2018, we were incorporated, or 2020, we were incorporated, and then you just go on from there. All right. The next question in the application is, describe how the organization's mission gives focus and guides leadership's actions and decisions. When you answer this question, you want to answer it in three parts. You want to remind of the mission statement. You have to connect everything to the mission. And you want to answer, and then you want to have these two categories: gives focus, guides leadership. Now, when I write grants, I actually use these as subheadings. So this question will have two subheadings: how our mission gives focus and how the mission guides leadership actions. And then, well, probably three: how guiding leadership actions and guiding leadership decisions. Let me say that again to make sure you get it. If I were when I write this, I would have three sections. One, how the mission gives focus. Two, how it guides leadership actions. And then how it guides leadership decisions. That way you can organize your thoughts into these little pockets. And you only need a couple sentences each. If you don't do it that way, you run the risk of rambling and going off script, going over your word count, etc. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're answering this in these three parts. If you don't use the subheadings, that's fine, but you want to practice answering their questions their way. They really want to know that your mission gives focus. They really want to know that your mission guides leadership actions. They really want to know that your mission guides leadership decisions. Whenever funders create these questions, they're creating them on purpose. They are worded this way on purpose. And Truist does not give us their scoring rubric or grading criteria, but you better believe that all of their grading is connected to each one of their questions. Okay. So how does the mission give focus? How does the mission guide leadership actions? How does it guide leadership decisions? So one example of how the mission gives focus, and you want to say this outright, say, our mission gives focus by such and such. Our mission focuses our organization by highlighting the needs of grandparents who have taken in the children of their children, are parenting for the second time in their life, and parenting when the world has changed and they're 2 generations removed from the person they're raising. Our mission gives focus, because we support people, women that are facing mental health challenges but do not have insurance. That's why we created this organization. And that's why we provide the service that we provide at zero cost to them. How does it guide leadership actions? It guides leadership actions by lived experience, because the leadership actually has the lived experience of what our clients have gone through. We have been through it before. And so we share with them our experience, our strength, and our hope. How does it guide leadership decisions? Our decisions are made based on what is legal and ethical and what is most appropriate for somebody facing these challenges. Right. Let's go on to the next question. How does your organization define and measure impact? All right. Now, based on how I told y'all how I decoded the last question, how do you think we need to decode this question? Give me a volunteer. Don't be afraid of being wrong. You're going to get it right, and I'm going to help you. How do you decode this question? Oh, we got no volunteers. Y'all don't be nervous.
I'll give it a try.
Uh-huh.
So, how does your organization define and measure impact? So I would define my mental health wellness center as we define it by, we use assessments, we use pre-assessments, we use 90-day assessments. So we're measuring impact by what the women are saying their outcomes are. Also, that they left the program and they were able to sustain their emotional wellness. They're doing better on their job. So we're measuring impact by assessments and surveys.
All right. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So what she just gave y'all is a normal, regular answer that will be very conversational. However, the problem with that answer is that they might miss some of the juice of what she shared. So what I do and what I teach people is, whenever you see the word "and," use that as a separator. Now, watch what I do. How does your organization define impact? How does your organization measure impact? How many sections do you think this answer needs?
Two.
Section number 1 needs to say what?
The organization definition.
Organization defines impact.
Oh, defines impact. Sorry.
How does the organization define impact?
And second section is what?
How does your organization measure impact?
Right. Do y'all see why I say it like that? What we're trying to do is get all the points that they have. And the way that we say it, those are the questions we answered, but the way that we say it is, we define impact by, and then you list them. We define impact in the following ways, and then you list it. You can list it in commas. You can use bullet points. I actually prefer bullet points. You can say, we define impact in the following 3 ways. More women are experiencing longer employment on living wage jobs. More women are experiencing happiness in life as defined by a survey. More women are making more money or able to save more as defined by their savings account. Okay. How does your organization measure impact? The measurement is when you go back to the definition and you say, we measure this by, and then you just go word for word, tap for tap, bullet for bullet. So if you were to say, we define impact by how many women secure living wage jobs. That's how we define impact. We measure impact by securing or reporting on the women getting their first pay stub. I'll do another one. We define impact by how many children make better grades in school. We measure impact by connecting with parents who turn in their kids' report cards. The measurement will always lead to a number. The definition will always lead to an understanding. So when you're defining it, you're just saying how we understand it. More people get employed. We measure it by how many people get employed. We define it by more people are making a living wage. We measure it by looking at their pay stub and comparing their pay to the living wage. We define it by how many grandparents have started businesses. We define it by grandparents starting businesses. We measure it by how many grandparents have started how many businesses. We define it by how many single mothers. Let's see, I'm doing it. We define it by single mothers being able to start businesses. We measure it by how much money each of the businesses make that are owned by single mothers. So the definition is the understanding. The measurement is how you get a number. All right. Does anybody want to try this? When you use you as a volunteer, you'll be able to get feedback so you can apply it to your answer for the question.
I'll try for the pantry. How does your organization define impact? By three bullets. Bring in healthier foods.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also provide recipes to use with the healthier foods so that they can do better meal training. And then we also have a diabetes prevention training program as well. How does the organization measure impact? For the providing healthier foods, that would be like the total pounds received per month of healthier foods.
Yeah.
The providing recipes, I guess we can do, like you said, the number of cooking classes held to do those recipes together. And then the diabetes training would be how many students attended for the month.
All right. So those are great starts. So let's push it a little farther so that your application is more powerful and more competitive. What if you had a survey where people actually were able to say whether they eat healthy, like on a scale of 1 to 5, how healthy do you eat? So if they come to your food pantry and they pick up their food, of course, they write down their zip code. They don't have to give their name, but most of the time they're asking your zip code and how many pounds of food you took. And then answer this question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how healthy do you eat? How healthy does your family eat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you did that, then you'll be able to say, how does your organization define impact? We define impact by how many people self-report. We define impact by families reporting how healthy they eat. How do we measure that? We measure it because when people come through the line, they give us their zip code the size of their family, and how healthy they eat. We compare this, we take this average and we compare the beginning to the end.
Okay.
All right. For the diabetes prevention, we measure impact maybe by people journaling about their diabetes numbers. You know, their what's it called? Not the A1C, but your glucose level. The number is, and I should know it. People do a private journal, and they anonymously give their number. And as a group, we measure the impact, where we were as an average in the beginning and where we were as an average at the end.
Okay.
All right. But you have a definition and then a measurement. The definition explains the thing that you're doing. We define impact by people getting healthier. We define impact by the youth being less violent. We define impact by people eating more healthy food. We measure it by how much healthy food they ate, how many people, such and such, how much money, blah, 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 blah. All right. They ask for a list of your board members. They ask for your grant to have a title. If you're good at coming up with titles, then that's great. If you're not good at coming up with titles, you can always get help with it from like ChatGPT. But your title, whatever your title is, should say something with regard to their giving priorities. Economic mobility, growing small businesses or strengthening small businesses. Your grant request needs to obviously speak to that. My grant request to them was strengthening small businesses in Western North Carolina. That was my grant request. Actually, it was 10,000 connections, strengthening small businesses in Western North Carolina. All right. So the purpose of the grant request, this is your statement of need. They want you to describe how the funds are going to be used to support our Truist Foundation grant making pillars. Please use bullet points as appropriate. So they encourage bullet points. And here, this is not your full budget, but this is a great place to put your budget in categories. So you describe the funds will be used as follows: $20,000 for such and such, $30,000 for blah, 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 whatever it is, okay? But your sentence will need to say, we are using this money for this purpose because it helps economic mobility in this way. So I'll give you an example for a job training program. If you want to help, like I said, let's say that you have a housing program. It's not necessarily a job training program, but it's a housing program for youth that have aged out of foster care. We will use the requested funds in order to provide housing, $30,000, and in parentheses, I would say, housing is a primary barrier to people seeking sustainable employment. $20,000 for case management, and in parentheses, case management is critical in helping people find and retain employment. Next bullet point will be transportation. In parentheses, transportation is the number one barrier that stops people from getting jobs, finding and keeping sustainable jobs, because the jobs that pay best and have lowest barrier to entry are not on the bus line and not inside the city limits. So each line is a bullet. And just make sure that your request adds up. Whatever it adds up to, that becomes your total. Now, when you're writing the Truist application, and this is true for all grant applications, except for federal, they do not want to be the only one at the party. So the grant needs to come up to whatever your expenses are for this grant. That cannot be all of your expenses for the program. If the program needs $100,000, you cannot ask them for $100,000. If the program needs $100,000, you can ask them for like 50. And you want to show on your budget that you have the others, or that you're searching for money for the others. But when they ask this question, they're only asking about their money. So if you're asking them for 50, you want to break that 50 down into chunks. Anybody have any questions about this? And nice round numbers are good. If you have specific numbers, that's fine, but there's nothing wrong with nice round numbers. Then you have your requested amount. Organization, collaboration, and connections. This is where you want to list out all of your partners. It doesn't matter whether they're big or small. It's good to have a mixture. When you list your partners, this is how I recommend you do it. Either put their name in bold letters, or underline. The name in bold or underline, and always number them. Include as many partners as you can. If you have 10 partners, include them. Partners are organizations that you do work with. If your group volunteers with another group, they're a partner. If somebody coaches your program, they're a partner. Provide a detailed breakdown of how you propose you would use the requested grant funds. All right. Now I'm going to show you my example of these. Will at least 51 of the thing be funded by Truist go towards supporting low to moderate income people? The answer should be yes. Please provide the percentage of LMI individual. LMI means low to moderate income individuals, household you serve. And you'll calculate that by just the percentage of people. Just calculate the percentage using a calculator. Where it says, how do you verify the percentage of LMI individuals you serve? There are a few ways you can verify. You can verify by self-attesting. You can verify by asking if they live in a low-income neighborhood, or you can ask their zip code. And if it is a zip code that is a low-income zip code, you can presume that it's a low, moderate income individual. There are some organizations that actually ask people, what their income level is as part of the application. You just have ranges and they check the box. Short-term goals and long-term goals. The short-term goals are things that can be reached in 3 to 6 months. The long-term goals, they're looking at 1 to 3 years. Here they say, explain how you plan to sustain this work beyond this grant period. This is a really, really important section. And once you answer this grant with this question, make sure you save your answer, because all this should be saved in a Word document. so you can use it later. Because every grant is going to ask you this. And if they don't ask you this question, then whenever they give you the extra space, put this answer there because it's very important. Please explain how you would sustain this work beyond this grant period. You want to say it outright. We understand that this grant is only available for this program period. We are actively seeking other funds and funding sources to sustain the work. In fact, we have already secured this amount of money. We have already applied for these other grants that are pending. And we have this many volunteers or this many donors, blah, 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 blah. If you don't have any other money at all, this is where you name all the applications that you have applied for, the hours of volunteerism that have been committed, and you multiply that times the in-kind rate, I think it's 31.28. And that's in-kind. But whenever you get this statement how you want it to be, you save it and you use it often. And what would you want or expect to learn from this project or program? They're not asking what you plan to learn from Truist. They're asking what you plan to learn from your project, what you plan to learn about your people, what you plan to learn about your organization, your community, et cetera, et cetera. How you plan to receive feedback from participants and or your community serve. This is where you have surveys, interviews, databases, check-ins. This is where you just say, and only a paragraph is fine, how you plan to receive feedback. The feedback can be quantitative, numbers of things. The feedback can be qualitative. You do interviews, video interviews, written interviews. You can have an opinion box. You have open door policy. Whatever it is that you do in order to receive feedback, this is where you describe that. All right. Now, I know that was a lot. And what I teach is if you're learning, then you have questions. Anytime that you're learning, you have questions. So let's take some time for questions before we go for today.
Yes, Mr. Hackett, I have a question. Is this grant also inside of the Grant Suite portal?
This grant, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I just wrote this grant.
Okay. Is there a link that we go to apply for the grant on their website?
Yes, you go to Truist. Actually, Google Truist grants, and it'll take you to the portal. You don't want to go to the Truist Bank, because that's the bank side. You need the foundation side.
Is this for nonprofit or for profit? Or both?
This is for nonprofits only.
So I have a question. I got here kind of late, but so I just started out with the learning about the grant thing. So this is like overwhelming for me because I don't quite really understand a lot. I mean, to the steps, can we get like a copy or something? Like, I'm trying to take fast notes as I can, but I mean,
Yeah.
I really don't. This is like all foreign to me. Like some of the things you're talking about. Like, I'm not even in a position to even apply for the grant. I filed the step you told me to. Good afternoon. Anyway, excuse me. I'm sorry, jumped in. But I filed the steps when you said to start the process of opening a grant. I did do a grant, so not a grant. I'm sorry, my nonprofit. So I set that up yesterday.
All right.
So
That's good. Now, I don't recognize your voice. Who is this?
Oh, this is Dawn Hardwick.
Okay. All right. Most people. It's fine. It's fine. We meet every week, and I start to pick up people's voices. I'm like, I didn't recognize that voice.
Yeah, I don't know why my picture, I can't go live on my picture. I don't know. I'm always bound
Okay.
to the computer. But in the
That's all right.
meantime, is
No
that I did the nonprofit, started out with that, named my company, did a nonprofit, set everything up. I'm just kind of like getting into, because you told me before that I have already a business, a profit business, but you told me I needed a nonprofit business in order to apply for those grants. So I've started that process, but I'm still trying to go on your videos and learn some more information on grant writing, because I'm so confused on some things.
Yeah, it is.
Because I'm not a grant writer, so I feel like I'm in grant class writing, but I'm just saying I'm learning a lot. But a lot of stuff that you're going real fast, I'm trying to write down and not, trying to keep up.
Yeah, no problem. That's why we're here, and that's why we're learning. It's a whole world. It's a lot of money available. So just pace yourself. It can feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant, but that's why I'm here.
Okay, because I mean, as far as the grant is concerned, it's like I'm not chasing a bag. I want to impact my community, because my business is tied to business and community driven. So it's collaborating together with the community and the businesses in the area.
Yeah. So would you be doing this to support small businesses? You get money to support small businesses in the community?
Yes, to get the community and businesses to collaborate together.
Yeah.
But, also, help with the community as far as like financial budgeting, their monies and things like that. Because one of the directors asked me to do a financial package for low moderate income, about 80 of them. He wanted me to do one-on-one though, to help them budget their money for their monthly pay, their monthly income. So I didn't have anything together. I was like, okay, let me look into that. So
so that would be perfect for this application. Financial literacy for minority-owned businesses. And so the issue is people in low to moderate income are disproportionately Black people, and they have been subject to predatory lending because of bad financial practices, money habits, and lack of financial literacy. I have designed a 12-week curriculum in order to teach them financial literacy that will help them with personal finances. No, I'm speaking for you. I'm making all this up.
Okay. So I thought you had one already. I'm like,
no,
okay.
I don't teach financial literacy. I'm making all this up for you.
Okay, I'm writing it down as fast as I can. I stopped for a moment when you said you had a program.
Yeah.
Okay, a 12-week course.
A 12-week course that teaches financial literacy that will help them with their personal finances, which will translate into better business practices.
Okay.
And actually, if you needed help structuring your thoughts, you can take that statement that I just made and feed it into ChatGPT and ask it to give you 12 modules. And that'll just help you organize your thoughts.
I wrote that down. Chat GPT. Is it .org or just Chat GPT?
Oh, it's part of your Gmail. So just type in
It's a part. Okay.
And it'll connect with your Google. Now, any of you can do that same thing. Like if you have a thing that you teach and something that you're good at, and you need it to organize your thoughts for somebody else, like you can turn your thing into a curriculum, and just ask it to help you structure it, and then you go back and you fill in the details with your expertise.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. But yes, we have Mark, do we have a copy of this that folks can get? I thought I sold a copy of it.
I have a question. I can't put in for that right now, right? Because I have to get the paperwork back for my nonprofit, right?
Yeah, but
I can fill out the application for the next time.
You can fill it out. This is what I do, and everybody doesn't do this, but I never tell myself no. I make somebody else tell me no. Because what'll happen, Elena, I'm sorry, apply for it anyway, because you might have your approval back in time. Your approval is only going to take 3 weeks, maybe 4, but it should be back before November 31st. You follow me?
Yes, I follow you.
Mm-hmm. And if, for example, they say no because you're not approved this time, then you're at the head of the line for next time. And at least you're still on their radar.
Gotcha. And I put that link in for ChatGPT up in the chat for the young lady.
Mm-hmm. Now, if anybody that has the software, if you click on letters and type in the type of grant that you're writing, it will give you a whole outline for a grant proposal, and you can use that as your starting point. So if you wanted to do a small business grant proposal, go to letters, type in small business grant proposal. If you had a youth mentoring, it might have it for like Texas or Arizona or Virginia or something like that. It doesn't matter, but it will give you a pre-written grant proposal that you can use as a starting point. It'll have your 3 things, your outcomes, your blah, 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 so that you don't have to start from scratch. Does that make sense? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I unmuted because that was going to be a big question of mine, because I have the grant software and I'm still trying to learn how to navigate it. Mr. Hackett, I've been watching some of the tutorials, but I'm really trying to learn how to navigate how to get the wording. So when we do the letter, we just print it out. It's like a guide for us. It'll help write the grant out as a guide.
Yes. So the letter is actually a grant proposal, but it's kind of generic. It's written for that state and it's written for that type of program, but it does not have your special sauce on it if it's a letter. So you download it and you make that your starting place.
Okay.
Okay. Inside of the software, if you click on template, then that one is taking your special stuff and it's updating the actual grant application. So for those, and there are about 1,000 of those that are already written, that does pull your program information into it. And that one becomes unique. Like as soon as you press the button, that one becomes uniquely yours.
Okay. And then when it becomes ours, we take that information and use it as a guide to when we're applying for the other application. Grant. We actually go to their website and apply.
That's right. You go to their website and you copy and paste.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So inside of the section called letters, those are grant proposals. If you don't know how to structure your program, if you need a program design, if you say, well, I have this topic and I want to turn it into a grant proposal, you go to the section called letters, type in grant proposal, and it'll show you hundreds of them. But that is a proposal and you have to make it yours. But if you go to opportunities and click template, that's actually taking a grant opportunity and it's going to pull information from your program and it's going to update the questions using your information. And that becomes unique.
Okay.
It's going to take your mission statement and automatically put it in there. Going to take your program, your blah, 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 your board, your everything, and put it in there.
Okay.
All right.
That helped connect the dots. I think that I was thinking that I was applying for the grants inside of the portal, but what the portal was doing is helping me generate the proposals and generate what it should look like. And I take that template, use it, and go to their website and just kind of
copy and
put the information in there.
Yep,
So that's where I was kind of losing the trying to connect the
That's right.
dots. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna do a Q&A specifically on Grant Suite tonight. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
What time tonight?
Probably 9 o'clock.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to miss it. And I had clients up until like 7. So
Yeah, 9 o'clock. I'll just do a Q&A.
yes.
Just so folks we can kind of troubleshoot and see what it can do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well,
Email on that Q&A to join, Dr. Hatchett.
say it again.
We get on a Q&A, like sometime I miss it, like where's it coming from? Is it going to be email sent to us or just get on Zoom at 9?
We're gonna send out Mark, can we send out an email? Yeah, we'll send out an email.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That'll have the Zoom in it.
I just have to ask one more question, Dr. Hatchett. When you have a nonprofit, for me to apply for grants, do I have to have the 501(c)(3) or already or no?
Some of them require it, that you already have it. Some of them won't require it beforehand, but they will require it before they give you the check.
Because sometimes it's like 3 to 6 months or sometimes 6 months.
Yeah. So that's why when there are some people that set their nonprofit up on their own, or they have other people set it up, and it takes a long time.
I did.
The way that we set them up, we get to approve much quicker.
I wish I would have known that. But mine is already set up. Like I have everything except the 501.
So you can contact, and if anybody else did it that way, I mean, I can save you a couple $100.
Okay.
Contact your state representative. Tell them, contact your state representative. This is totally free. Tell them that you are actively looking for grants and your nonprofit application is being delayed.
Nonprofit applications.
And you just want to ask them if they can expedite it. This is something that they do. Like, you're not breaking any rules by doing this. You're not breaking any rules, breaking any laws. This is just one of the things that state representatives can do.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't fill out the form and submit it yet. So that's I got to submit it. I just did the nonprofit application, but I didn't 501(c) though.
Oh, well, no, don't.
I went on my own.
Submit it our way. Submit it our way.
So I have to somehow get on all right, so I have to go back to your site, right? Your
It's inside so you have the course how to set up your nonprofit.
I have I'm on the thing where it says sign up my email, test drive my 14 days, get new grants. That's the wrong site.
That's where you picked up my product, right?
Yes.
All right. And I don't know how many courses were there.
So many websites. I'm trying to find the one. I started out one, Dr. Hatchett, where I was filling out my basic information for my company, but I needed to, I had to back out because that was for profit. So I didn't do it until I got my nonprofit. Then I wanted to go back in, but then I got lost trying to find it.
Yeah, it's a lot of class, a lot of information. So let me just tell you right now where to go so that you could please prevent yourself from that 6 months wait time. Go to pay.gov.
What is it? What is it? What is it again?
Pay.gov.
Pay.gov.
You'll register for a free account. The account is free.
Oh, register for free account. Okay.
And you want to look for the expedited form.
Expedited form. So pay.gov, right? Okay. And look for the expedited free expedited.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay either way, but you want to get the expedited form.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hackett, I have one question. You mentioned last mastermind that you were going to be somewhere live on November 15th. Is that something that we can attend or?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be in DC, in the DC area, November 15th, and we wanted to have a meetup there. Some of the folks are coming from Texas, and there's a group coming from Chicago, and I'll be in Virginia already. So I was like, well, let's do a meetup there, but I don't know what time. So if you're interested, then direct message me so we can kind of be in the loop.
Okay. All right. Because I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area, but I'm willing to travel just so I can continue to learn the knowledge and, grasp the information.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, for all of the elite folks, we've started preparing this application for you. We started writing this grant for you, the Truist grant specifically. So we want to, I can't see, my eyes are still blurry. But we'll be finished a draft of it tomorrow. And we just want you to take it. We're hoping that it helps you kind of get towards this finish line. Going to make things a little bit easier for you, especially since you made that year-long commitment. And for everybody, please do not ignore the grants calendar. The banks, they're available to you right now. Giving Tuesday is coming up, and then you have end of year giving. If you just are there, all you have to do is be available, and somebody's going to give something. All right. Your banks are going to give, your community foundations are going to give, but if you don't even have a presence online, if you haven't even done your guide star at all, then it's going to like skip you over. Okay. And you don't want to do that. So at least do something. You might not feel like you can do everything, but at least do something.
Mr. Hackett, what did I miss? What's elite?
That's that program. The folks that do that they do the 20,000 for the year, and we do some work with them and some work for them. It kind of makes me part of their team.
Okay.
Our team, part of their team. And so we try to give them a boost because they're trying to grow faster. That's just what it is. They're trying to grow faster. If anybody was interested, and actually we broke it up into payments just so that folks can kind of spread it out throughout the year. So if you're interested in doing that, we can talk more about it and plot out your grant program for the year, like how your nonprofit is going to grow for the year. It's the equivalent of having me on your grant team.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later on. Oh, I'm trying to increase my Instagram followers. So y'all follow me on Instagram or tell somebody to follow me. I'm gonna get better with social media.
Tell everybody. One more question for the book that we have to do, workbook on there. How can I get that workbook?
Which one?
For us online, the classes I have to do. They says my courses I have to do, and then you be talking about the workbook to pull out the workbook, and I don't have a workbook.
Oh, now each of the classes, you mean my online, the stuff that's already recorded?
Yes. All
of them should have a workbook that came with it. Like that's my normal practice, that each class has a workbook.
And they said, pull out your workbook on page such and such. And I was like, what workbook? I don't have a workbook. That's why I keep emailing you. Can I get a workbook?
Oh man, message me what class that is so we can fix that, because everything is supposed to be uploaded there.
I might be all over the place. I did because you have a lot of emails. I'm gonna make sure you're not hacked. You know what I mean? Because you're on Instagram, you're everywhere. So I'm gonna make sure I'm texting you. Because
you'll support at Six Figure Grants or support at Hackett 2K. Both of those are me. But when you email, tell me which class it is. Because if it's missing for you, it's probably missing for somebody else.
Okay. All right. Okay, I will. I'm going to do that when I go back on. Thank you.
What's the Instagram handle?
Grant Writing King.
I had found your workbook when I made my I didn't even know you had workbooks until I made my screen smaller and it popped up with 2 icons.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Each one of the each class has a workbook. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna
One more
go.
question. Did Mark ever find that information? Because I did reach out to him. He ain't say anything, so I'm not sure. For the EI.
Let's check.
Yes, sir. Actually, I already assigned the writer to reach out to her, sir.
Okay. All right. So we did get it, and we assigned the writer to go ahead and start on your federal paperwork.
All right.
All right. Thank you. All right, y'all. Let's get to writing. And remember, if you're learning, then you're going to have questions. So don't hold back. As you run into stuff, just reach out. The best place to reach out is on Facebook, especially in the group. So post your questions there. And of course, anytime online, you can definitely come on and ask questions. All right. All right, y'all take care. And bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a
You
blessed
too.
day.